Do you ever find yourself looking for answers on this spiritual quest, and you go to people's sites and you listen to things and it's just like, oh my gosh, what? It is so expansive. What are they talking about? It just sounds wonderful, and it's complicated and beautiful, and I don't know what to do with it. I want to talk about that in this video right here, because there is a lot of things out there that is absolute crap that we don't know that it is. And I know because I've been through it myself. And I think there's a lot of people that actually do know that. But this video is going to be kind of directed towards the people that are coming along in this, that are looking for things, that are looking for answers, that there are always pitfalls along the way. There's a lot of people willing to help that have the answer. They got the right answer. Just ask them. You have to figure out for yourself what is right or what is wrong, because everybody, no matter what, they can be opposite sides of belief from each other and they're convinced they're right. How do you know? This is where it's up to us to really discriminate. But here's an example of something that I want to show. Oh, first of all, my name is Dan Paulson, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Okay, what I've done is I've drummed up for myself an example of this. I was on a channel called Commune, C-O-M-M-U-N-E. And there is a video there, a 1.5 hour video called The Sixth Great Extinction with Dr. Zach Bush. And I'll let you know right now, I will not get into targeting people, picking on people, saying they this, they that, they're wrong here, they're wrong there. There's a lot of that out there. I'm not going to do that. So I don't want to name names or pick on channels or anything like that. I'm just, there was a comment that somebody made on this as I was listening to it. And it was an interesting comment that brings me right to the point. I thought this would be a great video, because you run into this a lot. Here's what the person wrote, and I responded, and then they responded back to me, and I'm going to cover all of that right here. Okay, he said, there is also the fear of death, an essential part of innate biological instinct structure, which contributes to separateness, if not its primary cause. In the Cognition of Divinity, we have the opportunity to recognize paradox and accept it, and in doing be one with wonder and biology too, some part of which may want to consume us. Finding developing balance may be inherently difficult, but as Dr. Bush said, it's all nature. Perhaps in the acceptance of duality, we become one. And I read that and I thought, wow, boy, I want to listen. I want to pick that apart. What does this mean? There is the fear of death. Yeah. Okay. An essential part of innate biological instinct structure. Absolutely. Fight or flight. Okay. That's what he's saying right here. There is a fight or flight, which contributes to separateness, which contributes to our sense of feeling separate from things. I don't know if that is exactly the case or not. That's a claim he's making. If it's not its primary cause. Yeah. The cause of death is probably one of the biggest, that's probably the biggest human fear. But then it goes on, it says, in the Cognition of Divinity, we have the opportunity, and I stopped right there. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What is Cognition of Divinity? What is divinity? I know what cognition is. How much can we wrap our brains around the idea of divinity? What is divinity? So at that point, I asked him a question. I like what you said, but I didn't understand something. If you don't mind, what does Cognition of Divinity divine down to? So he replies to me with this. Remember, I'm asking him, what is Cognition of Divinity? His answer, the conscious awareness of living in the state of divinity, simultaneous with the feeling state of the experience as transcendent, which allows the acceptance of paradox, duality. I don't know why, but Deepak Chopra comes to mind right now. I read this and I look at it, and there's a point in time in my path 20, 30 years ago, I probably sounded like this. And I looked at this and I had no idea what to do. And you're looking and you're searching and you're finding things. And these are not bad people. These are people that are like on their path. They're looking, they're finding things, they're trying to pass things along. But in all reality, as I look at this, there's nothing here I can work with. It's a comment. It's being, Cognition of Divinity. Divinity is, okay. We don't need to analyze this anymore. The point is that this is what the person knows. This is where the person is mentally with respect to their understanding of their spiritual path right now. That what comes out of them is what is inside of them. And I think that along the path, it's very complicated at times. It's hard to find things. Once you turn it in and narrow it in, drop the supernatural, do a few other things that I've done, things look a bit differently. And if you listen to my videos, what you realize is that all of a sudden, all of this outward-looking fluff, poof, it's gone. This just goes away, and it turns out to be very interactive. Here's what you do. Here's what you judged. This is what you think that is stored back away, that is acting out, that you need to interact with. All of that is what is really there, and people can listen to that and go, oh, doesn't sound pretty, but I get it. I can interact with it. I can understand it. If people are teaching you and they can't convey something that helps you, I'm not talking about, nuclear physics or something that's way beyond you that you can work towards. I mean, in the spiritual realm where there's claims being made or things being shown or, so you have to wrap your own brain around what it is, and you have to listen to these people and decide, do they know what they're talking about or not? And these are all over. This is a person in the comments section. I didn't pick on any channels. There are people out there, their channels are all about this, long videos that are just flowery things that sound good and they sound wonderful, and there's nothing wrong with them. It's a place to be. It's a place to enjoy. It's a place to wonder and be in awe. And you will find that those sites are highly popular and people love it. I think that they're kind of a fantasy sort of a thing. I've gone to one and listened to videos. I'm not going to mention it. You can find these if you want to. But the one guy's all about Jesus and having, that he's a mystical person that went to Tibet and learned the Indian, and they look for all the crossover and all that stuff. They find they're doing like everybody else. They're seeing pieces of that template, but they don't see how broad it is. They just see little bits and pieces of it. So they think, oh, there's a link between these two right here. So they focus a lot of time and attention. And that's a very fun thing. Once you see the big picture and turn it inward, all that fun goes away. So you don't want to interfere sometimes. But turning it inward, the fun does go away. It doesn't become popular anymore. I see a lot of validity to them, but when you're ready to turn it inward, it does become different, and you are, you know what? Nobody in the world ever before you has been special people, some kind of gifted, some kind of entity from off-world that has special skills, and we're all the same. Everything that we have access to is for us. It is for us to use. Every one of those teachings becomes the guru when you turn it inward. It becomes your guru when you turn it into your psyche, when you go through the narrow gate with the material and take it with you. It's different. Yeah. You can see that there's no fluff in that. You can say things like, you need to let your light shine. You need to let go of what you're hanging on to. And all of that is true, but it's not all the way there. What does it mean to let go of you? I try. It doesn't work. So there's still something missing there. What you need to do is forgive the person that hurt you, or to go make amends for this, or work things out. Whatever it is that's haunting you, that is nagging you, make it right or look at it and examine it. If you can't make it right, maybe there's something that you have to resolve within yourself. And sometimes that means you've been hurt and you have to, use your higher self to interact with yourself, to look at things, watch stuff come, watch it go, like Buddha would say, or just go interact with it and understand where you come from, that there is a cause and effect, that you're in a chain of things going on. Whatever it takes to start looking at the stuff that hurts you, that makes you, so that you can let them go. That is incredibly interactive. Letting your light shine is true, but it's not that detailed. We can get more resolution out of the teaching by analyzing, what are they talking about? What are we made of? What is the light? We have the capacity to channel whatever is in the cosmos. The light, there isn't, we have a pure capacity that gets filled up with perceptions along the way. Where is there a light in there? I think what they're talking about is getting rid of the obstruction so that your pure self comes through. That means taking those mental concepts that you realize, these are acting out. I don't feel good about this. I hate that. This one I forgave, but it still acts out. I need to go back and interact with a memory back there. My little self that was hurt, crying in the closet, that was like, oh, come on, little kid, it's okay. Those memories are still there too. And even though you might say, oh, I'm going to let it go, if it keeps acting out, then it's still there. It needs to be interacted with. at some point, to me, the material becomes this interactive and it becomes life-changing. And recognizing the duality of the cosmic quantum, blah, 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 that's not going to help. That's not going to help. You're not going to interact with it. So watch that as you're searching. Here's something else that's going to be for the Christians. This is a fun one. Another conversation I had recently. I won't bring it up. It actually was one about somebody. It was a conversation about you can't see oxygen, but you know it's there. How come you know that? How can you say that oxygen is there when you can't see it? Yet you will say God is not there when you can't see God. And you're like, really? That's your comparison? One is natural, one is supernatural. Let's start there. Number two, we know what happens if you remove the oxygen, not just from organic life, but fires as well. Oxygen is there. If you smell something that stinks, but you don't see it, how do you know it's there? We know oxygen is there. We can infer oxygen is there. People will throw things at you that, as you're on the search. And if you're coming from a Christian environment, you will run into this with people around you that they're very practiced at setting you on your heels. Prove this, prove that, do this, and just make them stop. I'm not here for that. If they believe in God, they believe in God. It's a faith-based thing. Don't get caught up and entangled with people that are... Understand this. For me, if I get into it with somebody that wants to talk to me in an aggressive way like that, and they ask me to prove things, I just stop them right away and say, stop right here. Show me your God, then we can proceed. Otherwise, you spending time as if you've got everything on the ball and I have to prove something, we'll turn that around. You got nothing. If you have faith, you have faith. I respect that. Ultimately, the reality of it is I can focus on the teachings of Jesus, but there are people that cannot separate the idea of Jesus being a Christian symbol that you're supposed to worship. So that's where you're going to get stuck. The people that realize Jesus as a teaching, they're the ones that want to know. And there's a lot of times I say things and I'm not always very careful about it. I want to make sure to caveat from time to time, at least, that I hate the blanket statement idea. I know Christians that just are like, Dan, please, tell me more. I want to hear that about Jesus. I've not heard it that way. And that's absolutely wonderful. So it runs the gamut. But here is something that I kind of surmise this is what has happened there, because there's a lot of this today, a lot of, not everywhere in Christianity, but there's a fair amount of a part of Christianity of more aggressive, the right wing, honestly, evangelical type, that part of Christianity will use the term proof and try to tangle things up. What happens? 50 years ago, 100 years ago, people understand that religion is a faith-based thing. We believe, and there's just nothing wrong with believing that, and everything is okay. We know it's faith, and there's no proof. It's faith. I feel it. I'm okay. That was all right. What's happened that now it's not okay, that faith is gone and proof is there? I think what happens is science continues to advance and emerge and show things, that this mystery of what there was out there, as the mystery begins to diminish, the space for supernatural diminishes. What happens to certain people they're going to feel threatened by that? My God is there. You're not finding my God. Your proof is not proof. You can't, suddenly it steps into, I don't have faith anymore. You're not finding it. That's what I see happening. Some people are okay with faith and some are not. Just be aware of that as you're on the search. Avoid people like that. When you see that happening, they are going to be militant, angry, wall fence. You're just going to, when you find yourself face to face in opposition with somebody, just, smile and walk away. Don't get caught up in it. They're going to be that way, and there's nothing that's going to happen except you would get caught up in their anger. Anyway, those are a couple of pitfalls I could think of. One of them is, as you're looking, be careful of the flowery. That is all over. Oh my gosh. It is difficult to find things that are just right down to here it is, the nitty gritty. But there is also a significant purpose for that supernatural to be there. What would humans do by the billions? Sitting around with nothing to do. It's good to have a belief. Just watch yourself as you're discriminating, you're looking, you're listening. Is that something that's workable? Poetry is fine. But if you need to heal, the poetry might carry the answer, but there's something in there you have to interact with. So when people are just giving you more and more sunshine when you're asking them questions, that's all they got. That's what they got. But remember, too, that there's nothing wrong with that. We're all... A lot of times we live at a place where we are convinced of something, and that's where a lot of people are. We've been there, too. These are people that are genuinely trying to learn. They feel this way. They want to share. They want to do good. And you look at that, and you might actually listen to it and say, man, I love the sounds of that. And you might pick that up and carry it for a while. This is going to be my mantra for a while. And then something happens and you learn more and go, I'm going to set that down and grab onto something else. So there's nothing wrong with that along the way. People are, intending good. And, but I guess I just want to say there, don't be critical of the people that are doing things like that. But if you look at it, you do realize that, that I can't glean from there what I need. Although the person in their mind, they're thinking, this is the answer. You could be thinking, no, it's not mine, but it is for them. We work like that. So that's where, when you're discriminating and looking for answers, you're having to pick those things apart as you go along. And then, of course, being on the path as a Christian can be very rewarding or not. 33,000 different denominations. You're going to find Christians that think like you do and Christians that are going to tell you, oh, you're not a Christian. You're not doing it right. So that's why I want to be careful with that one. I have a lot of experience with Christianity, and it is very diverse. And as a Christian, if you are a Christian that are seeking the teachings of Jesus, the deeper meaning to them, then I would just suggest to you that you have been, you're one of the few chosen, getting ready to enter the narrow gate. That's exactly what that is. And, yeah. But that there are Christians that will tell you that there is nothing there, that you're making stuff up, or that you're doing New Age stuff, or that you shouldn't analyze it. And they don't see it. It's not for them. Best off just to, when you find that wall right there, just back away from it and don't approach it again. It's something people have to come to on their own. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say on this video. Use caution. If you had any experiences like this, I'd like to hear about them below. I know this is a fun kind of a topic sometimes. Oh my gosh, what do people do to take you off course? Anyway, yeah, and people are not looking for answers, and you are, and they don't see the difference, and you do, and it's a wall between you and them. It's going to be that way. Just get used to that. All right, that's it for this video. Love one another, and I'll see you in the next one.